Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. My pranam to you.
Oh, good to see you, Mataji. And Hare Krishna, Ishan. Hare Krishna, Jai. Let's start the session, and I'm sure many of the devotees will join. I have not reminded a lot of them individually, so quite possibly they will forget because we have changed the timing on the request of the parents. So hopefully they will remember the new timing. But let's resume back to our sessions. And maybe if I just close that, let's see what happens. Right, currently my screen has gone blank. Let me just stop and restart the sharing. Hey, Krishna. Okay, just stopped it. And that's the presentation. Hare Krishna. Seems much better now. And Adi is here as well. Hare Krishna, Adi. So good to. As soon as Adi joins, the very first thing I think, let me stop the annotations because Adi loves doing drawing on the slides. I also know Adi is very good in taking pictures. He loves taking pictures, which is great. Hare Krishna, Adi. Good to see you. Hare Bol. All right. Let's do the Mangla Charan and then we shall resume back to our overview of Srimad Bhagavad-Gītā. Ajnana-tirandasya Jnana-jana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam yena bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Gurun Shri Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatha Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadhvetam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakha Vitam Cha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchan Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschat Deshitarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasavi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gurudev ki jai, Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Jai Jai Shri Radhesha. Hare Krishna. Welcome back, everyone, for our overview of Srimad Bhagavad-Gītā. We have already gone through chapter 1, so we'll start from chapter 2. If anyone has any questions or any concerns, any topics, any suggestions, feel free feel free to talk now or anytime anything comes into your mind, right? Otherwise, I have two kids here next to me, Shivani and Aryan.
Hi. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, that's Shivani. And we love doing discussions. We were discussing something very interesting just before the class, and maybe at an appropriate time, we will introduce in the session as well tomorrow. Shivani, today, Shivani agrees that it might be worth. It's all Krishna conscious, so we will see how it goes. Hare Krishna. Now the whole point is, as per the right, just take a step back. So we all are Hindus. I hope all of us remember that whenever we need to fill the application and the list of religions get displayed, we tick the box which says Hindu. Now, this word Hindu has been given to us. Otherwise, the religion itself is referred as Sanatan Dharma. Sanatan is eternal, well, universal, and well, when it's universal, which means in the all universe, and it's eternal because it always stays, but universal, and then dharma is a religion. Dharma is not actually the literal translation, but it's a loose translation because in English language we don't have any equivalent. So this is the closest word we can find, the translated word. But as per the Vedic literature, dharma means something else. Dharma is that inherent feature of something. Like I always say, fire is hot. Now, fire cannot be cold. But these days, we can change religion, can't we? Somebody who is Hindu today could be of any other religion tomorrow. Yeah?
But in other religions, you have to do like a procedure to like go to another religion.
Yeah.
Or like transform into another religion.
Okay.
But when in Hinduism, we
Yeah.
don't do that. What you can do is you can just follow Krishna consciousness. There isn't like anything like you have to wear a mala bead in order to be Krishna consciousness.
True. Okay, very true. Thank you for that contribution. So what Shivani said, Shivani just got a thought in her mind and she said, yeah, I would like to share a fact, she said. And the fact she shared, if you could not hear, she's sitting next to me. Well, yeah, a meter away from me. And she said that in other religions, we need to leave whichever religion we are following, we need to leave and we need to get into that religion, right? And it's the official ceremony. In Sanatan Dharma, we don't really need to have that, especially in Krishna consciousness. We don't really need to. And I have friends. So if I will take the name, because names are powerful. So his name is Umair. And Umair is a Muslim name. And he is Muslim. But he also lives in the temple. Well, he lived temporary. I'm not sure where he is at the moment. But we lived together as well for a while. And he follows Krishna conscious. He doesn't follow anything as per his religion, Islam. And he follows everything as per the Krishna consciousness. And he got a place in the temple. Here in London, in Watford. And if I was there next to him, he's more Krishna conscious than me, because I still go and work and I still have family. I might be doing a lot of material things just to sustain myself. But he, from the time he wakes up, especially while he was there in the temple, from the time he wakes up till the time he goes back to the bed, everything he does is more or less Krishna conscious, because he's doing everything, all the services in the temple. And he didn't have to change anything. He didn't have to go through any formal process. He didn't have to change his name either. He's still called Umair. and everyone accepts him. He is fully in Krishna consciousness. So this is the fact what Shivani just said, and that's so true. And what I was saying, if the fire is fire, that fire is a fire at every corner of the planet, right? You cannot have a cold fire. Well, as long as I know, you guys are much more clever than me. Being in science these days, if you know or will find out at some point, because a lot of inventions happening, please come and correct me that what you said is wrong, right? It could be, because I'm talking from my experience here, right? Water got to be wet. If something, if the water is not making you wet, that cannot be water, right? Of course, you can say, oh, because I'm wearing this. Yes, but that thing is getting wet. The nature of the water is to make you wet. And similarly, we can go for other things. And that's how we can define dharma. Now, what is our dharma? What is the dharma of human? We can pretend to be something else, but there is something as per the scriptures, which is our dharma. Anyone knows what that is? Any guesses? What our dharma is? What the point? What Krishna says? The very first thing Krishna says. So if you move forward, maybe this one. The very first understanding and realization from Bhagavad-Gītā which we can get is that we are not the body, we are the soul. And the soul does not get birth, the soul does not die, nothing happens to soul, and then we share this. There are so many characteristics of the soul, and we all are this soul. Hare Krishna, Ishan. Good to see your virtual hand. Please go for it.
Do animals and plants have souls?
What do you think? Give it a guess.
Maybe. Probably, yeah.
What do you think, Aaron?
Yes.
Okay, Aaron says yes. But yes and no won't do. We have to go further. Thanks for that question.
Plants don't, animals do.
Okay, Aaron is making a guess.
I'm getting confused.
Okay, Aaron is confused that
I think plants don't.
plants don't. That's what he's guessing. Yeah, Shivani.
Everything has a life except objects.
Okay.
Plants do. Like they're alive,
Mhm.
but I mean, I'm not that smart,
Mhm.
so I don't know if they have a soul or not.
Okay.
But I know that animals do have a soul.
Okay, great. So both of
Plants have super soul instead of soul.
okay. All right. So yeah, so the concept of super soul is also there, but let's park that super soul. Super soul is happy waiting for us, but soul is there. Let's work on soul. Very good question, Ishan, and very good thinking, and that's how we should think. You know, whether spiritual or material, whichever study we do, we should always think, if this is happening, how about that? So great thinking, Ishan. And I'm not surprised, because I know you're a clever and smart guy. And of course you got to be, because your parents are clever and smart. So now I can tell you the answer, but that might not do good, because then you have to rely on my answer. How about we work it through? Let's think, what's the symptom of the soul? If somebody, let's say humans, at least we know humans, they have souls, yeah? If a human body has a soul, and there is another human body which doesn't have a soul, how do we know? Anyone?
Heart won't be beating.
Okay, Shivani says heart will not beat. What will happen? We will call that body if the heart is not beating?
Dead.
Dead. Thank you, Sean. And Shivani said that same thing. Dead body. Because the symptom of the soul is consciousness. Symptom of the soul is consciousness. So anything which is conscious has a soul. Anything which is conscious has a soul. Human body, if we are conscious, even though we are not fully conscious, and we can argue on that and we can discuss a lot, but we are at least conscious a bit. Animals, they are also conscious. plants, are they conscious? Do we think they are conscious?
No.
No? Ishan says no. What do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah? Shivani says yeah. Why do you think that?
Since I've kind of like in year 3 I've studied that like they eat food.
Plants react.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So like if there'd be like an object, like say this tissue box,
Yeah.
then the tissue box doesn't eat.
Right, very nice. So, okay, so what Shivani said that I have learned in the school that plants, they eat, right? And this tissue, well, she just got a tissue box next to her and she said this tissue box doesn't eat. So this is dead. And that plant which eats is
There's
live.
other symptoms too, but
There are other
that's one
symptoms
of them.
too.
That's one of
Yes, yeah. So let's talk about plants then. There are different types of plants, right? There are some plants, if we know kind of sunflower, right? There are many more plants. We say if we keep plants next to the window because of the sunlight, then maybe you have noticed that plant itself, and you can do this experiment, maybe not in this weather, maybe when the sun will come, or like today was a sunny day. So if you have a plant, then put next to the window, and you might notice it's hard these days because even if the sun will come, the sunlight is not that strong. But when the sunlight is strong and the plant needs sunlight, plant will bend towards sunlight. And this is very prominent in the sunflower. And we got a picture. We took a couple of years back, I think. We went to a farm, a big, and it was full of sunflowers. Sunflowers bigger than our height. I'm not that tall anyway, so anything higher than me is not a hard thing to be. But there were tall sunflowers, and so we were there for a few hours, and the sun was setting, and all the sunflowers, they changed the direction. There were many, like as far as you could see, there were sunflowers, and they all just changed the directions. Well, not drastically, but gradually. We could notice. It was very much evident that they have changed the directions now towards the sun. So it's very. So this is one example. And then, like what Shivani said, that plants do eat, and I'm sure we all agree with that. And they're carnivorous. Shall we say carnivores? Yeah, I think they're called carnivores. That they eat humans as well. Some of them. Yeah, some of them eat insects. So now coming back to the question of consciousness. Now, what do we understand by consciousness, right? So because that's the thing. When we said no, this thing has or this thing doesn't have, humans have consciousness, animals, they have consciousness, plants don't have consciousness. Of course, one question could be, whoa, what consciousness is? Now, consciousness is a very big topic, and all our Upanishads mainly focus on consciousness. They call the absolute truth. So we call Bhagwan, they call absolute truth. And Bhagwan is also absolute truth. But the absolute truth in Upanishads is pure consciousness. When a human has pure consciousness, that means that person has realized absolute truth, or that person is on the level of absolute truth. So when Gautam Buddha got enlightened, so very first thing he said, I'm awake. What does that mean? That I was not fully conscious then, but I'm fully conscious now because I'm awake, right? So he was fully awake. So that was, he knew what absolute truth was, and he was working on that platform. So if for our discussion, if we say the consciousness is where we know what do we need, let's say this, right? For example, if someone, and this is another big topic, so if someone is sleeping, let's say in the class, so you guys go to school, somebody is sleeping. I don't know if it happens in school, but definitely it happens in university, because in school, the students, they live with parents. In universities, students don't live with parents, and overnight they do a lot of things they are not supposed to do. For example, watching movies, playing a lot of video games. And in the morning, I remember we used to have 8 o'clock lecture, And 8 o'clock, you can see either a lot of students are missing, or most of them, those who are there, they're dozing off. They're just dozing off, right? And then you can say they are not conscious. How do you know? Because they don't know what they need. For example, they are there sitting, and this happened. A teacher was there teaching, and teacher could realize this particular one is sleeping. He just went right at the front of that, and he said something, and then student didn't reply, and he just knocked the desk, and then he got up, and then he said, I think you should go home and sleep, right? He said, I'm sorry. He said, no worries at all. Go back, sleep, because if you will sleep here, it will make me feel bad, and many other people might feel the same. So that student left, which was, I think, the appropriate thing to do anyway. So at least he could sleep and come back for the rest of the lectures. But being conscious means you need to know what's happening around. You need to react, if I say. And if we keep that definition of consciousness, then plants could be considered as conscious. So they are living beings and they are conscious. And all the living beings, they have. So anything which you consider as living, they have soul in them, right? It could be the mosquito, the very, very, very little mosquitoes you have. House flies are still big, but sometimes you have very minute. And of course, those creatures, if I say, there are different scientific names these days, but those creatures you can't see, or we humans, we can't see from our naked eyes, but we have to put under the microscope to see them. Even they, if they are living, because if they are conscious, because conscious, what does conscious means? If you put the fire next to them, they will move away. Now, plants, they can't move because they cannot move, but they will move. As I said, if they need the food, then their roots will move. If they need the sunlight, they will move that way, right? So from that definition, yes, plants, they have souls, and they are living beings as well. Anything living, anything conscious have soul. And now the concept of super soul, and we will see super soul in Bhagavad-Gītā as well. Super soul, right, great. Ishan, please go for it.
I just had a question on the characteristics of a soul.
Sure.
On 24, it says present everywhere. What does that mean?
Nice, very nice. Great question. Anyone here got any idea? Present in everywhere.
Oh
yeah. Yes. No? Okay. Ari?
I'm not sure.
No. Okay. Great question, Ishan.
Wait, actually, I have something related to that.
Okay, sure.
It's like in the Narsimha Artiya,
Mhm.
like it's like everywhere.
Yes. So Krishna Chaitanya is not here. He loves Narsimha-arti. And in Narsimha-arti, there is a verse, Ito Narsimha Parato Narsimha Yato Yami Tato Narsimha Bahir Narsimha. All right. So it says that this is the reference Shivani gave. But let's come back to present everywhere. So the Arti of Narsimha Dev, it says Narsimha Dev is everywhere. Here, there, everywhere. And this is usually we say for the Lord as well, for the God as well. Now, present everywhere. So there are two ways of it we can understand. Upanishads explain it. Upanishads call the absolute truth as being, the word used is Brahman. Brahman is the word. And where is Brahman? Everywhere. What is Brahman? Everything, right? Hard to understand. Now, let's come back to our definition of and the characteristic of soul. Where is soul in the body? Aryan says everywhere. Now,
Heart. Region of heart.
okay. So soul does there is an Upanishad, and Upanishad has a definition of the soul and the dimensions and everything. And it says in the region of our heart, where the heart is, soul is there. But what's the characteristic of soul? Or sorry, the symptom of soul? Consciousness, right? Where is consciousness in the body? Everywhere, right? Is this finger conscious? Yes. Is this finger conscious? Yes. My toes conscious? Hopefully, yes. Am I conscious? Hopefully, yes. So present everywhere means that it's everywhere, right? Everywhere in the body, wherever we are, wherever we will go, the consciousness is with us, the soul is with us, right? That's what it means. This is internal, but external as well. How? And this is very philosophical, but let's keep it simple. And Adi, I will just come to you. I know your hand is raised. Let me just finish this and I will come to you. Thank you for waiting. Analogy. One of the teacher asked that, tell me the biggest thing you have seen in your life, in the world. What do you think is the biggest? Somebody said, my dad. You know, a little child said, my dad is huge. You know, my finger is that small, but my dad's finger is that big. My dad is huge. Of course, not all the children can say about their parents, but one of the child said it. And the other child says, well, I think elephant. Elephant is definitely bigger than his father. I've seen his father. His father is huge, but elephant is much bigger than. And of course, on the, well, we don't have dinosaurs around, luckily, fortunately. And elephant is supposed to be one of the biggest mammal, or the land animal. So teacher said, yeah, good. So yeah, relatively truth. Your father is big, the elephant is big, anyone else? And there was a girl there, and she said, my eye. And everybody got confused. What do you mean? My eyes. Yeah? Anyone could guess why she said my eye?
View. I don't know otherwise.
Yeah?
Because I think that because it was able to see such big characters, so that meant it was bigger than it.
Very nice. Thank you so much, Jai. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Because she said that from my eye, I can see his dad. And from the same eye, I can see elephant as well. And even if someone will come, or something will come which is bigger than the elephant, I can see from my eye. So it doesn't really matter the size of someone. I can fit that in my eye, which means my eye is bigger than all these. As I said, very philosophical. This is, if we will bring back the
I have a question.
Yes, okay, sorry. Go for
I have
it.
two questions now.
Yes, Adi, ask for
You
it.
know, you say, what about the world? The whole world? You cannot see the whole world with your bare eye.
Very, very good. So I think what Adi is very philosophical as well, I tell you. What Adi is saying that you cannot see the whole world, even though we recently got the world map. We put it on Aaron's wall. So we can see the whole world in the map. But Adi, you're right. We cannot see the whole world from our eye.
Also, my second question is that what's the difference with the Brahma and Brahman?
Wow, amazing, amazing. Very good question. So yes, let me say something for the first one. So we cannot see the whole world from our eye, but whatever we can see, whatever is there at the front of us, we can see from our eye, right? So maybe how far we can see. Of course, we cannot see that far, but whatever we can see from our eye. Yeah. And the point is that, yes, doesn't really matter small or big, whatever it is, you can see from your eye. Of course, your eye will have the limitation as well. So Adi, I will come back to your second question, but just to finish off the previous one. Now, if we bring back the consciousness, now, whatever we experience in our life, if we are not conscious, then that thing we have not experienced. Right? Let me say that again. Doesn't really matter what's happening around us. If we are not conscious, we have not experienced it. For example, two of you will go to a movie, right? Actually, this happened. We went for a movie and we were there, and Spider-Man's new movie. And I was so engrossed in that movie that I didn't realize that I was sitting on the chair and the chair was moving, because well, the kids aren't booked the movie for what is that called? D-box. It's called D-box, right? Very good experience. You sit on a big sofa, you pay a lot of money to experience it. But I was so much engrossed there in the movie, I didn't realize, even though I think my chair must have been moving because everyone's were moving. It did move for a while, I realized. But then I got engrossed in the movie and the characters and the story, which I usually do, because I can't do multitasking. Whatever I do, I just focus on one thing at the same time. And so far it's been working. And then that moving chair is not part of my experience, even though this happened with me, but I was not conscious, right? So if you can see from your eye, then your eye can fit everything. If you are conscious, you can experience everything, which means present everywhere. Your consciousness is actually not only in your body. Whatever you see, you're experiencing because you are conscious, which means your consciousness is everywhere. You are nothing but a consciousness. You are nothing but a consciousness. Your consciousness can make you, your consciousness can break you, right? Hang on with that. We will talk about a lot about consciousness, because the whole idea is to be Krishna consciousness, right? Srila Prabhupada ji said, never mind Krishna consciousness. You can only become Krishna consciousness after you will become conscious. If you are not even conscious, then how will you become Krishna conscious? And why this consciousness is important? We all are students. For example, if we are there in the school, teacher teaching us, but our mind, our consciousness is somewhere else, we are thinking of something else, then we are not in the class, even though physically we are sitting in the class. So we need to be conscious. And if we could be, our consciousness could be purified, right? Then we are considered enlightened. We are enlightened. Yeah, we have achieved enlightenment. Great. Now coming back to the second question of Adi. So very well, very good discussion on that, Ishan. Well done. Thank you so much. It's amazing the kind of questions we can think of and we can discuss. Great. But yeah, we'll talk more about it. So we will go to Adi's second question. Oh, Ishan wants to say something. Ishan, muted or not?
Oh, I just said thank you.
Hare Krishna. Very nice. So, right. Adi's second question was, I was not conscious. Adi, could you please remind me?
What is the difference between Brahma and Brahman?
Yes, thank you. So, Brahma is the name of the very first person in this material world, right? So we have two worlds. As per the scriptures, we have two worlds. One is a spiritual world where no one dies. No one dies. And all the souls are there. But some of the naughty souls like us say, oh, we want to go and experience different things. And Krishna says, okay, go and experience different things. And this happened here as well, right? So Shivani will say, Mama, I want to play with my dollies. Mama will say, okay, go and play with dollies. Shivani will say, okay, I have dolly, I have a kitchen, I have the living room, I have everything there. And she will have her own life there, and kids have their own life. These days, you have your life on virtual platforms, right? You will just go, you will say, I want to play because this Minecraft is so great. This, which other game you play? Fortnite is so great. And you kids will love and spend hours there. Yeah. this is what we did. We were there in the spiritual world. We said we would like to come and play. Krishna said, okay, go play. The very first person, and there are many what we call Brahmanda, so many universes, and the first person in that universe who comes is called Brahma, right? So Brahma is actually the what we call placeholder, which means it's a role. It's not a name, it's a role. For example, in the schools we have principal. Principal is a role. Yeah, somebody else called Richard could be principal. Now Richard is his name, but principal is his role. Richard could leave the school and go somewhere else, and somebody else called Tom could come and he can become principal. So there is always a principal, but that principal could be someone else. So Brahma could be anyone. So Adi can become Brahma, and Ishan could become Brahma if you want to, right? But you have your own name, but you could be on the post of Brahma. What does Brahma do? What does principal do? Then there are different responsibilities based on the role. Brahma is considered as the second creator, which means Brahma gets the power from Krishna and from Vishnu, and then he creates a lot of things. There is another scripture we have called Bhagavad-Gītā, and Bhagavad-Gītā, it explains very nicely how Brahma creates this planet, this earth. And we will see one of the things maybe today about in this chapter, otherwise later next time. But how many things Brahma creates? Brahma creates 14 planets, and our planet is one of them. Brahma creates 14 planets. Out of 14 planets, one is his own house, and that's the very first thing, let's say, he creates. Because if I'm a builder, I will create the very first thing for myself. So Brahma is that. Now, what is Brahman? I think if Adi wants to know the difference between Brahman and Brahma, and these two are very confusing terms. So it's very good to get that clarified right now. Now, Brahma is the person, is a role. Brahman is a concept. What does that concept say? That Brahman, that we all are spiritual beings. Which means everything here, if we say is a spiritual, anything which is spiritual, we can say that as Brahman. So Ishan is also Brahman, because Ishan is spiritual. Ojas, Jai, Adi, Aryan, Shivani, because we all are spiritual beings. Because Krishna has told us or Krishna was telling Arjun in Bhagavad-Gītā that we all are, or everyone is part and parcel of Krishna, which means we all are spiritual. It's like in the ocean, from the ocean, if you take one drop out, that one drop is also part of the ocean. That's how we are. So the God, Krishna is the ocean, and each one of us is a drop from ocean, right? This is what we are. And because Krishna is spiritual, we are also spiritual. And that's the reason we are also called Brahman. So everyone is Brahman and everything is Brahman. So soul could also be Brahman. So Brahman is the concept, which means that everything is spiritual. Very, very, very basic. I'm saying very loosely, but we will get into more details. So I hope that's clear, Adi. Let me just say in one more sentence. Brahma is a post, a person. Brahman is a concept that we all are spiritual. Okay. So, but this is very, very, very big thought. So well done, Adi, on that. Great. I know I always love Adi's questions. Adi used to ask a lot of questions. Adi these days doesn't ask. Maybe Adi is thinking too much. But great, Adi. Thank you so much. Adi keeps us on our toes, which is great. Glad to have you. And even those who have not asked the questions, if anything comes in your mind, feel free to ask or say anything in the chat. Right. So great. Because remember, we don't need to finish anything off. We need to understand. So again, because we all are students, I will consider myself as a student as well. I'm also doing a lot of courses because learning should not stop. So both material and spiritual, but spiritual is main rather than material. Now, being the students, if we are students, of course, we need to be conscious. And if we are conscious, we need to ask questions. When we ask questions, we understand that we are learning, right? That we are learning. So if, let's say, there are two students, one of the student has gone through and done 100% of the course, but has only understood 40%. And there's another child, another student who has maybe done 80%. And out of 80, he has understood 60%. Now, the first one has completed 100% of the course, but has only understood 40%. The second one has completed 80%, but has understood 60%. So 60% and 40% will get compared. Not 180 will get compared. 40 and 60 will get compared. And the second child will get more marks, might get 60% because he has understood 60%. Right? So it's better, whatever we study, we should study nicely. So very well done on that, guys. All right, okay. Okay, so Aryan reminds me that 3/4 of the dedicated hour is done, and we are getting into the last hour, last quarter now. So thank you for that, Aryan. Practical application of the knowledge of the soul. So far we have thought about whatever we did. Remember last time I said, this is the theory. Even though in the theory, we try to understand a lot of things, which is great, right? And remember all these things, so the 30 characteristics, they are about us because we are soul. This body, this hand, eyes, well, my eyes are bad anyways, but all this about the body will go. Even if we will realize this one thing, we are as good as enlightened. Srila Prabhupada ji said this number of times that we are soul, we are not the material body. And any spiritual person you will ask from any religion, well, I'm talking about the main religions I have gone through and I've discussed with their teachers. Any main religion, major religion in the world you will speak to, they will agree the same thing, that we are not the material body, we are the spirit souls, we are the spiritual beings. So, very famous saying, we are not the, so a lot of time when we go to the temple, we enjoy, we love, or when we listen to the kirtan. So when you join the session, the kirtan was going on, live kirtan from the manor, Bhaktivedanta Manor temple. So we listen to that a lot. And when you listen, even sitting at home, you enjoy a lot, right? And then we say we are material people and having a spiritual experience. But spiritual people say that's wrong. We are not material people having a spiritual experience. We are actually spiritual people or spiritual beings having material experience, because we don't belong to this world. We don't belong to this world. This world has just been created for us because we asked for it. And this world is temporary. For example, if we do something naughty, then the police, the council, the government will put us behind the bars. We will go in the prison. That prison is a temporary thing and we will be there temporary. Well, as long as we will be naughty, or we will finish our term and come back, right? Okay. So remember, we are not the material beings having a spiritual experience. We are actually spiritual beings having material experience. We just need to remind ourselves we are spiritual, we are soul. But this is all theory. You will say, I don't agree. But now let's get into the practical aspect of it. And this is, some of them you can have experience right now. Some of them, a lot of time, for example, in physics, you will learn about the motor. You will learn about the engine. You will learn about the solar system. But you will just learn theory. You will not do the practical right now. For all of those things you will learn. When you will grow, maybe in university, you will get into engineering, maybe electronics, when you will play with electronics, when you will go and you might get into the solar, and then you will do the solar. Yeah. So, okay, before we'll move further, let's take a question from Adi. Adi, please.
No, you said someone asked for this world. Who asked for this world?
Sorry, Adi, I didn't get. Did you say, so when I said Brahma is a role, who asked for the role?
No, you said that someone asked for this world. Who asked for this world?
Ah, okay. Yeah, this is, you caught me very nicely. So let me put it this way. When we say, so somebody, a bad guy did something bad because the person is bad. No, persons are not bad. Actually, they do bad things. So somebody who did bad thing, police caught, and the police said, okay, now we will take you and we will put you in the prison. And the guy in the prison will say, why did you put me here? And then somebody, a policeman there, can say, well, actually, you asked for it. And he said, I didn't ask for it. Now, this is a phrase, which means that you did something, and because of that, you are here. You cannot blame anyone else, right? So this is a phrase when we say you asked for it, right? It's like somebody's going outside when it's raining.
Who asked for the world?
We asked for the world. So because we wanted to
But
come.
who created us to ask the world?
Ah, okay. Well, first we asked, and then it was created for us. For example, if Shivani, I will take Shivani's example. If Shivani will say, I want to have a doll house. First, she will ask, then we will go to the market and we will get her the doll house. Yeah?
Yeah.
So first we asked for it. What did we ask? We
But
asked
who
that
created us? Krishna created us, but we cannot live in space. So how did we survive?
Brahmaji created the whole world.
Okay.
Yes. And we will touch base on it, what Brahmaji created.
Who created us?
Who created us? Well, so when you say us, we are actually two things. One is the soul. Soul has always been there, Krishna, because we are part of Krishna, right? So Krishna created us, let's say. The body was given to us, and that was also given by Krishna, but Krishna has many expansions. So from one Krishna, many other things come out, which we cannot do, Krishna can. Actually, many animals can do. Some of the animals, like from the mother, a child comes out. So similarly, many animals, they kind of replicate themselves. And they are interesting enough, there are some males they can do. Males cannot do. Now, human males can't do a lot of things, but animals could do. But Krishna, of course, could do everything we can think of, and also the things we cannot think of. But Krishna gives this body to us, right? This material body is given to us to be here in the material world. So for example, when we go to the 3D movie, we get 3D glasses, right? Because otherwise without it, we won't be able to use. Similar thing happens here in Bhagavad-Gītā, that Arjuna asked, I want to see your universal form, which is a Virat Rupa, which is a magnificent, big, and Arjuna asked for it. Krishna said, okay, if you ask for it, I will show you. But you cannot see from these eyes. Then Krishna gave what we call divine eyes, different eyes. You can consider as the 3D glasses. And with those 3D glasses, with that divine vision, Arjuna able to see Krishna. Nobody else could, but Arjuna could. Right? So similar thing happened with us. We asked for it, then Krishna gave the knowledge to Brahmaji, and Brahmaji explains that in Brahm Samhita. There is another scripture called Brahm Samhita, which is written by Brahma, and Brahma glorified Krishna. And Brahmaji said that Krishna, because you asked, you requested, you empowered me, you gave me all the power, that's why I have created this creation. That's Brahm Samhita. Right? Very, very beautiful. Many beautiful verses are there. So great question. Thank you so much, Adi, on that. And we will discuss Brahmaji and Brahmaji's creation as well. Right. Okay. So let's come back to the practical application of knowledge of soul. So if we know that, what are the benefits? Practically, because Bhagavad-Gītā is not only theoretical, just to have discussions. the knowledge and the wisdom of Bhagavad-Gītā should be there in our life every day. And we should be able to get to the level when anything and everything we do, we can use the knowledge of Bhagavad-Gītā. And that's when we can say we are in Krishna consciousness 24/7. Right. So when I said 24/7, now there is a part when we sleep. Now, when we sleep, we are not conscious, right? When we sleep, we are not conscious. And remember while I was discussing the consciousness, then at one point I said there's a part of it which is a big topic, and that topic is what happens to the consciousness when we sleep. Now I will just say in one sentence and move further. Now Upanishads made it very clear, but the modern science is still working on it. A lot of PhDs happening, research is happening on this topic. But in one sentence from our Upanishads, when we sleep, we are not conscious, but the consciousness is there. Let me repeat it. When we sleep, we are not conscious, but consciousness is there. Right? And there are many beautiful ways, many beautiful analogies given in Upanishads, but it's a different topic. So we will park that for now, and maybe in future we will discuss that. But it's magnificent. One thing I always say that usually with the people, I think well, it happens with me, and I think it happens with everyone, that things which are very personal to us, we are more attracted to them and attached to them. For example, our parents, my wife, my children, my house, my car, my clothes, my specs. My is everyone, right? So if you think about yourself, your pen, your friends, your school, your friend, your parents, everyone, you can think of my. Whatever comes after my, but my is the main thing. Now, soul is not only my, soul is me. So me is even more closer than my. I, me, and then mine. I, me, and then mine. And mine is my. So my is also secondary. My is the topmost. But my also becomes secondary when it's about I, it's about me. And who is me? I am the soul. So the knowledge of the soul is the topmost. And Upanishads explains them so nicely. So that knowledge is better than anything in the world. And that knowledge, well, of course, the devotional service and the bhakti comes later. But this is the very first thing in this spirituality. Consciousness, pure consciousness. And soul is conscious because, or we become conscious because of the soul. So that topic is a great topic to discuss at some point. But for now, just to give you the definition, and then we will get into the explanation later. Karma Kanda. Karma Kanda, when we do things to get the benefits. So we do things, we do the prayers, so something good happens to us. I will pray to Lord Ganesha. So Lord Ganesha will remove all the obstacles. That's called Karma Kanda. We are praying to someone to get something, right? That's Karma Kanda. Karma Yoga, when we do something because it's our duty. Yeah. So all the parents take care of the children because it's their duty, not that they are expecting, oh, well, when we will grow old, these kids will take care of it. Well, no, most of the parents, if they are wise, they don't have expectations from their children. And if they are wise enough, that wisdom will always keep them happy, right? So that's Karma Yoga. Oh, because you are a student, you need to study. That's your Karma Yoga. Not study because I will get a good job. Because I'm a student, I need to study. Whichever subject I'm studying, I should study with the best of my ability. Whichever ability Krishna has given to me. If my ability is 80%, I should get 80%. I should get the 100% of 80%. Right? And then the Jnana Yoga, which is full of knowledge. So this Brahman realization, the knowledge of the soul, comes into Jnana Yoga, knowledge. Ashtanga Yoga, all the yoga practices we do, that yoga practice part of Ashtanga Yoga, and we will see that. Chapter 6 in Bhagavad-Gītā is full of that. Chapter 4 is Transcendental Yoga, Jnana Yoga. Bhakti Yoga, the middle of the chapter. Bhakti Yoga, that devotion. So we will do all these 5. Okay, I think Ojas said bye, because Ojas is full of time. So 1 minute to 7 now. So these are the 5 topics of Bhagavad-Gītā. Let's say, if you will put it that way, these are different 5 consciousness, if you will say. When we do something, we can do in the consciousness of Karma Kand, considering we want a reward, we want the fruits, or we want to do it because it's our duty, or we want to gain the knowledge, or because we want to do Ashtanga Yoga, and we will see what else that means. But let's say we are doing it for the body, do control of our body, or Bhakti. That's the topmost, that's the ultimate devotional service, right? So it's very exciting. Well, I'm excited at least. It says Atma Jnana, knowledge of the soul, right? And then based on that, practically how different people will react, this is what we will find out. And maybe with that knowledge in future, when you will see somebody doing something, you can say, I know this is Karma Kanda. Oh, I know this is Jnana Yoga. Oh, I know this is Bhakti. So when we will understand this, we should be able to make that distinction. And not only that, we can make distinction, we can move further, and we can control ourselves, because we are conscious beings. We can control ourselves when we do something out of these 5, which one we are in. Because remember, we don't want to point fingers towards others. We can observe others to improve ourselves. The whole point is to improve ourselves, right? And of course, if we want to improve others, so we can, as a group, as a family, we can help each other. But the idea is not to pinpoint someone else, oh, you are inferior than me. Not at all. If we can observe others, so we can improve ourselves, and if we can improve others as well as a family, then that's the best thing we have. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Thank you, Adi, for reminding me in the chat that we are close to the end now. So take good care of yourselves. Have a great week, and look forward to see you next Sunday.
Bye.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare Krishna.
Thank you,
Hare
Babaji.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Shan. All the blessings for you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Jai. Hare Krishna, Adi.
Bye. Hare Krishna.
Bye. Hare Krishna.